Hello, everyone. Welcome to another week's episode of Reconnecting the Dots, brought to you by Abdullah. Once again, I want to empower and help you to become the best version of yourself through this podcast, and I hope it benefits you. So, take a listen to this week's episode and let me know what you think. Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Reconnecting the Dots podcast. And with me on the show today is Abdullah Olakukan, the recent senior high school grad of British International School. And he will be attending college in fall of 2021. Abdullah, welcome to episode 17 of Reconnecting the Dots podcast. It is indeed a pleasure to have you on the show and on the segment of the Diary of the Young Black Muslim, which is a program of the Heritage podcast talk show. So, Abdullah, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. How about you, sir?
I'm doing very okay as well. And without any further, we'll just to delve into the topic of the day. But before we proceed, Abdullah, I would like you to introduce yourself to our listeners to get to know you much better.
Okay. Hello. Thank you. It's an honor for having me here. Thank you so much for inviting me, sir. A little about myself. I am currently a senior in high school. I am in my last year of the International Baccalaureate program, and I will be graduating in May of 2021. I plan on studying economics in university on a pre-med track, as my goal is to go to medical school in the future. And one day I hope to be an anesthesiologist.
Wow. That's interesting, actually. So Abdullah, so why anesthesiologist in the future? What has prompted you to want to study this course in the university, or want to become that type of professional in the future?
So actually, I always my last 3 years of high school, I was very sure I wanted to go into healthcare because of an incident that happened to myself while I was abroad, and I was in an international school where I had a severe asthma attack due to the environmental conditions and everything, and it was very hard to get the proper healthcare needed because of the expensive medical costs. My caretakers were afraid to get me the proper medical costs. So I felt like the pain that I was feeling in the time it took for them to decide whether we should or should not go to the hospital, it made me think about the millions of other people who are going through this on a daily basis, who feel like should they choose to eat tomorrow, or should they choose to go to the hospital tomorrow. And I felt like it's not choose between their health and food and other necessities of human life. So, and I'm very passionate about economics. It's something I've taken since I was in 10th grade, and I've always loved the subject, and I always knew there was some kind of connection between economics and healthcare. So that is why I decided to study economics on a pre-med track. And as for anesthesiology, I know I want to go in the healthcare field. Anesthesiology is just the one that looks the most interesting to me as of right now, but maybe when I go to medical school, I may decide to be a different type of doctor. But I just know for sure I want to be in the healthcare, and I want to do something that allows people to receive healthcare, no matter their financial ability or what social status they have. Just anybody from anywhere should be able to receive healthcare at an affordable price.
That's really very interesting, honestly, and I must really commend your sense of motivation and your sense of thought process about all of this again, because right now, even the world we live in, especially in the United States of America, where not a lot of people can actually afford some type of health care or some type of health insurance. And hopefully, the future is really bright. And and I am of no doubt that you will become um, this professional, this anesthesiologist you really want to become. And again, looking at it from an economic point of view, the truth is economics actually um, it's everywhere. Economics, there's nothing you cannot do without having to understand or look at the economic side of it. So that's really interesting, and um, I would really, really, really encourage you to just keep doing this and just keep following up on track to actually become. I really look forward to seeing you as an anesthesiologist, Abdullah. So,
Yes.
Abdullah, I know your parents are very um, your parents are disciplinarian. They're very
Yes.
interesting people, and very well respected as well. And your dad especially has inspired so many people, and most importantly, he's been a mentor to a lot of young adults and young professionals as well. So can you tell me how is these foundational characteristics in your dad, how has that shaped you as
Uh,
as a young adult?
so, yes, I have a lot to talk about in terms of this. So, growing up, my parents have always like wanted me to be the best. They've always they've expected a certain standard, and their natural intelligence, I guess, has carried over in some way, shape, or form to all four of us. I have three other siblings,
Mm.
but not also their natural intelligence in subjects like math, but also their 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 work ethic has
Right.
also transferred from them to us, and it's
Absolutely.
something they constantly they constantly try and not enforce but motivate us to have, which is a nice work ethic. So uh, number one, throughout the whole process, because I am a very to come up with a plan, like as I just told you, wanting to study economics on a pre-health, I discussed with my parents a lot because I was
Right.
not very sure coming into my senior year. I was not
Right.
very sure what I wanted to do. I know what I like, but I wasn't sure how I could become great with what I like and what I can do with my story.
Correct.
So constantly talking to my parents, both my mom and my dad, they they highlighted my strengths and my weaknesses, and um, based on that, we discussed. It's not a one day conversation; it's months, and we're still having these conversations every day.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
we're always reevaluating our game plan. What do we want to do? Is it economics on a pre-health track? Is it should I just be an economist? All those kind of things. So I would say my parents, both of them, are very fundamental in just me knowing what I'm going to do and everything. They're the ones that have put me on this path, and they're the one that will continue to ask for help, and they will continue to guide me wherever I go. So yeah.
Right. Right. Interesting. That's really interesting. I understand. I mean, honestly, I mean, I know your parent very well, and I know that. I mean, not just you alone. I mean, they do a lot for other people as well, and that's the way it should be, And the truth is, you reminded me of something while you were talking about how your dad and your mom have been fundamental in in your choice of profession, which you want to probably go into in the future, and especially helping you to navigate your career path, on that journey. So when I was a young adult, like, growing up and uh, freshly out of high school, I remember my mom would wake me up very early in the morning, and of course, like, it's always very at the time. It seems like, oh, mom, why are you waking me up at this time of the morning? So but the truth is, my mom wakes me up and tells me, young man, I just wanted to tell you that whatever it is you're doing, going to school every day, and just make sure you face your studies. Don't keep bad company. Go to school. Don't get into trouble. Stay away from any kind of thing that would attract you to any kind of bad things. Focus on your studies. Learn at every point, all the way. And one thing that usually always strikes me out of the things she's always telling me at the time back then was that she tells me, I do not have anything to leave behind for you if I die anytime. The only will, or the only thing I am leaving with you is all of the foundational discipline, characteristics, and a whole lot of the culture of how to do things properly, how to do things in a very right way. Growing up, which I have imbibed in you, is what will shape you as an adult and in your future, especially the education I have put in an effort to actually give to you. So when you were telling me, when you were saying all those things about your parent and about how so you just reminded me and all that. So, I mean, I know that you're on the verge of graduating from your senior high school sometime in May, and I know, of course, right now you're in the midst of wanting to choose what college you want to go to and all that. So can you share some of your rough experiences in the journey so far in terms of the choice of school, and how has that experience also shaped you to moving on, especially being a young Black Muslim in America?
Definitely. So my college process, it all started in the summer,
Okay.
where I was preparing for a scholarship that I was nominated for. It's called Posse. Posse, the scholarship, just quickly summarizes, basically where they choose 10 people from major cities to go to universities, and throughout the 4 years of the university, they're constantly, even before the 6 months before they go to university, they are trained by college experts, and throughout their 4 years in university, they're given guidance on campus, and after university they have exclusive opportunities to further their education or to get jobs, internships, etc.
Right.
So the scholarship is very useful, and they pay for your full tuition, and it's a very good scholarship, and it's highly recognized. Even Barack Obama had given a portion of his Nobel Prize money to the scholarship,
Right.
and I was nominated for it. Out of 1,600 students nominated in Houston, I was one of them. And before the first round interviews, I had prepared with people that would help me look over my essays, look over what I was going to talk about in these activities, because it's a very rigorous process to make it to the next round.
Right.
I had to learn more about myself and know what I was going to highlight, all that stuff. And I made it to the second round, and the second round was a one-on-one interview. I did well on that, and I made it to the third and final round, which is like you basically, so out of 1,600 students, there are 6 schools that you can choose. I chose the best school out of the one that I thought was the best school out of the 6 schools given, which was University of Virginia, and I was matched to the school, and I was a finalist. So there were 20 students left out of 1,600, and they were only choosing 10 people. So at that point, this was in late December when I was notified that I was a finalist in November. It was in late December that the final interview was, and this time people from the University of Virginia itself would be there. And I'd already fallen in love with the school. I've done so much research, and my mom already thought that I basically made it and everything, because it's like, I've made it this far, like what else could happen? Even me too, okay, I've already made it. Like, I've already made it. I'm a finalist out of 1,600 students. And I ended up I did not get the scholarship, and I did not get into the school. So that was really, really sad. It was really unfortunate, and luckily we had other options. Luckily, I applied to, in total I've applied to 19 schools. So far I've been accepted by 4, rejected by 4. I've been some notable schools that I've been accepted by is Baylor and Texas A&M, which are really good options. And to answer your question about how has this impacted me and what it has done for me, number one, definitely has impacted my work ethic, because you have to, because when you're applying to so many schools like myself, 18 schools is a bit too much, I would say. I've not seen anyone that's applying to universities this year that has applied to 18 schools, like that I know personally. So most people apply to 5 or 6. But when you're applying to 19 schools, you're applying not only because of the school's reputation, but because you're looking for scholarships and everything. And I've also applied to over 100 scholarships. So you have to know that, look, these schools have deadlines. You have to meet these deadlines, but you also have to bring a certain standard. You can't just rush your job. You have to meet a certain standard, and you also have to know that before you submit it, you have to make sure people are looking at it, so you're submitting the best quality. That means your parents, mentors, anybody that you know. So I had to definitely up my game in terms of how hard I was working to get these jobs done. And it has definitely impacted me. Even my parents have noted this, that recently, that they see that I'm on top of my stuff when it comes to applying to stuff. That is just how it impacts you. Now, in terms of my knowing myself, I would say this college application process has definitely given me the opportunity to evaluate myself and know what I want people to know of me, and especially the admission officers. I feel like I've learned a lot from myself, not only by me writing a lot of essays, but also by people editing my essays, people looking over my essays, people giving me suggestions. I've definitely, my writing skills have gotten better. My communication skills have gotten better. And in general, I just feel more well-rounded in the communication department. And also just in terms of extracurriculars, I know which ones I want to highlight for each schools and everything. And it's also given me the opportunity to start helping my siblings and other people in the community and in my school. As it is now, I feel like I'm mentoring some people in my school who haven't gotten accepted into any universities. I'm telling them, okay, apply to this one. Their deadlines are still open. I'm already telling my mother that, my sister, that she needs to start building her portfolio, because
I'm impressed.
I'm helping a lot of people. Even SAT, I've been helping some people who are now juniors who will be applying to colleges next year. I'm telling them what resources I used to study. If they need help with math SAT, because I'm very good at the math section on the SAT, I
All
can help
right.
them with some questions, all those
That's
kinds of
something
stuff.
from your dad.
Yeah. So I feel like it's given me the whole college. It's very stressful, and
All right.
it requires a lot of work, but it allows you to know yourself better, and it also gives you the opportunity to help others, which I'm really grateful for.
Interesting. This is really fabulous. So Abdullah, what advice do you have for young folks of your age who perhaps is striving, okay, striving to also get into college, or striving to graduate out of high school, but for some reason there is a struggle, right? So what advice do you have for such young people out there who find themselves in that kind of struggle, and looking at your own experiences thus far, what advice do you have for those people?
I would just say, don't give up. That's my biggest advice, because referring back to the story that I was talking about, the scholarship. It was
Right.
very sad that I didn't get the scholarship, even though we went through like 4 months of the whole process, and it really felt like we were so close and we didn't get it. It was very sad, but we just re-strategized. We applied to more schools, and since then I've received offers, really amazing offers from some really amazing schools. So just re-strategize and just have keep making a new game plan. Your game plans won't always work accordingly. And uh, any another advice I would give to high schoolers, people who have just started high school: make sure you're doing your best to get the best grades you can get. If the best grades you can get are A's, then make sure you strive for that A. You can work hard. If the best grades you feel you can get are B, aim for an A too. You never know, you can get there. Just keep working hard. And if you're at that point where you're almost applying to colleges and you feel like your grades aren't good enough, just know that there are so many universities out there. There are so many universities out there. You can get accepted into just because you don't get accepted into one university doesn't mean that you're not worthy. And you can re-strategize, apply to different types of schools, different classes of schools. Just make sure that you know your worth and you know that you've worked hard for everything you've earned. And one school will realize it, and that school will definitely give you an offer that you'll appreciate.
Nice. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. For that advice. So young people, who perhaps are in high school, wanted to go into college, I don't give up. Never give up on anything. If it doesn't happen the way you want, reevaluate. Go back to the drawing board, re-strategize. Just keep doing it, make it happen. And just like Abdullah said, um, you have to just keep striving to actually make that thing happen for you. Um, it's never a ending game. So, and of course, I know that everybody wants to get out of high school, wants to go to college, wants to be educated. We mustn't give up. That's the ultimate thing. So, Abdullah, before we actually come to the end of this podcast, one last question to ask you: how old are you right now, and what's uh in 5 or 6 words, what lasting statement would you have for young people who are going through a lot of struggles out there? Of course, you understand that not a lot of people have the access to resources, or to information, or to different kind of thing, which perhaps is a barrier to them. So I just wanted to give some type of Um, um, lasting word or statement to this type of people.
Okay, so I am 18 years old.
Okay.
As
Wow.
for some leaving words to people who are going through things, and in general, people who feel like they don't have the resources and may not have the resources, I would definitely say, number one, a big place where you can find a lot of resources, but I know not everyone has access to this, is a community. You're competing against all types of people who have money, people who have strong communities with lots of mentors. And I feel like if you don't have the financial resources that other people have, one thing you can do is look for people in a community who have succeeded and know what they're doing, and they can help you. And online resources, there's so many online resources. One of the biggest things for SAT, for me, many people in like wealthier neighborhoods and wealthy classes, they have access to hours and hours of SAT tutoring for a lot of money. Many people that I know do not have access to this. There are so many resources. There's khanacademy.org. There's so many resources that even I haven't found that you can use for SAT, for tutoring, for essays. There's so many free resources. So I would say, if you feel like that you're not as blessed, or not as, you don't have the same opportunities as other people, you just know that you need to work as hard. You need to work maybe twice as hard, 3 times as hard. Just keep looking, and you'll find something that will guide you.
Right. Thank you so much, Abdullah, and thank you for coming on the show. Viewers out there, for you to listen to our podcast, you can follow us on Instagram as Reconnecting the Dot Podcast. We're live on Spotify and the YouTube channel. Once again, Abdullah, thank you for coming on the show. I'm definitely going to bring you back on the show. There's a whole bunch of other different segments, which I'm sure we will, have a conversation about different other things as well. Once again, thank you so much, and you have a pleasant day ahead, and keep safe. Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for bringing me. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, sir.
You have just listened to the Reconnecting the Dots podcast with your host, Abdullah. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or Google Play. And thank you for listening, and see you all next week. Bye-bye.